Breakthrough technologies emerge rapidly as time advances, and the public is most of the time left in the dark. What government institutions have developed and understood during the past centuries would greatly challenge our life understanding. So why would they break this perfect control paradigm when they can just leave it so and operate from the shadows? In recent years, countless people have reported seeing flying objects of strange shapes, including triangular and spectacular trajectories.
UFO reports are still a thing. People are reporting them in greater and greater numbers every year.
Without ever challenging the existence of UFOs of ancient origin, we must make it clear that some of such aircraft are in fact owned and used in the greatest secrecy by the U.S. government. TR-3B Astra – From Myth to Reality. If you have the slightest idea about UFO sightings, unidentified flying objects, you probably just stare at the sky and wonder what kind of aliens control these things. But when it comes to TR-3B Astra, it's not what you'd expect at all.
If a tree's falling in the forest, you need somebody to hear it, so if there's a UFO in the sky, the more people around to see it, the more reports you get.
To understand the truth about TR-3B Astra, you'll have to catch a glimpse of the world of Aurora, one of the best-kept government secrets to this day. To make a clearer picture, Aurora is not a planet of aliens or an invading army of cyborgs. As a matter of fact, this name has its roots right here in the US. So, what is this TR-3B Astra, also known as the Black Triangle? Is a nuclear-powered anti-gravity aircraft secretly built and maintained by the U.S. government. It all started in 1982 with the Black Program, a secret Air Force project funded with what is known as the Black Budget, estimated to be worth about $3 billion. The technology behind this aircraft is considered beyond everyday technology. Some even point out that it might as well have been inspired by alien technology. For example, this aircraft has a stealth flight mode, a trait uncommon for decades ago. The TR-3B Astra is extremely lightweight, giving it the ability to easily outmaneuver other aircrafts. This is possible through a technology known as MFD technology. The MFD is a short form of a circular plasma-filled accelerator ring called a magnetic field disruptor. This technology, designed by the Sandia and Livermore laboratories, is so powerful that it was concealed entirely by the government, making it non-existent on paper. As you would expect, a lot of money goes into this research. A good amount of tax money pour into this project carried out at the notorious Area 51 Groom Lake Air Base in Nevada. To understand how massive the operations going on in Nevada are, know that the government owns about 80% of all the lands in Nevada. There are 18,000 federal and military personnel working there, with another 20,000 contractors. It is quite easy to keep a project of this proportion a secret when it unfolds in plain sight. Even at the Groom Lake facility, not everyone knows about the operations. It took a while before people started noticing.
I am convinced, based on my research and the individuals whom I've had contact in the U.S. intelligence community, that the U.S. government does indeed have craft that meet the description of many of the UFO reports.
According to a newly leaked Pentagon report, in 2004 a U.S. aircraft carrier was stalked for several days by a UFO.
Yes! What is that?
The earliest media reports of sightings were in the United States and the United Kingdom. As you would expect, the government didn't bother with it too much. However, starting with the 29th of November 1989, A good number of sightings were reported in the Belgian territories, with the first event documented by at least 30 groups of witnesses and 3 separate groups of policemen. Today, this is known as the Belgium UFO wave.
Perhaps the most convincing evidence for UFOs can be found in Brussels, of all places. For a period of about 2 years, the whole country was affected by a wave of sightings. They'd been seen by witnesses, the police, and by local radar stations.
By the 30th of March the following year, a frantic call from a captain of the Belgian National Police spurred their military into action. On this day, this UFO was verified by a NATO radar installation and another one belonging to the Belgian military force. But it only took this remarkable aircraft a few seconds to outmaneuver them and break out of sight. It was reported that the UFO suddenly sped up and dropped its altitude in a way that would have been impossible for any man-made aircraft. This suggests that this UFO could have been remote-controlled from an external location. If you wonder how this UFO was able to bypass the ground radars, look no further than the MFD technology we mentioned earlier. This MFD ring surrounding the rotating crew compartment has this mercury-based plasma that is pressurized to 250,000 atmospheres at a temperature of 123.15 degrees Celsius. The result is a stunning superconducting plasma with 50,000 revolutions per minute, which would easily generate a magnetic field that reduces gravity by 89%. Please don't confuse this with the standard anti-gravity technology. This is far more powerful. While the anti-gravity technology literally pushes against the ground with a repulsive force which then lifts the aircraft up, this is more efficient. What the MFD does is to generate a magnetic vortex field. This is what neutralizes or disrupts the effects of gravity by 89% on mass within proximity. There is a reactive electrical system set on the outer coating of its fuselage to help absorb reflections from radar beams. This essentially helps it stay invisible, but it does even more. The polymer shell with the reactive coating can easily disguise such a huge aircraft as the TR-3B, making it look like just another tiny aircraft. It could also make it look like several airplanes flying together, giving an illusion of a false radar reading. This technology is also behind the extreme velocity and altitude this covert craft can achieve. A report published on darkgovernment.com made us know that this UFO can easily reach the altitude of 120,000 feet or 36,000 meters. The speed is purported to be around Mach 9. Let that sink in for a moment. That's almost 7,000 miles per hour, making it the fastest aircraft in the world. Why this was kept in the shadows is an intrigue we can only speculate on. There are beliefs that these crafts are being used for modern warfare, with references to the Gulf War, for example. There have been sightings as recent as 2018, with such a big project taking a center stage in the black projects ordered by the US government. One can only wonder what they are all being prepared for. The Aurora project is one of the largest and probably the most important projects in the history of the US Army. Is this about alien or human technology? Or is it about both of them combined? On the other hand, disclosure in the press of this information will prevent and completely dismantle the various manipulations of an eventual alien invasion or other similar rumors that are being made to escape the black operations.